Peter Pan. What if he weighed 500 pounds and could no longer fly? Chapter 1. The Day Peter Pan Fell. For the first time in the history of Neverland, Peter Pan fell. Not because he had forgotten how to fly. Not because he had stopped believing. And not because the last happy thought had vanished from his mind. He fell because, overnight, Peter Pan had begun to weigh 500 pounds. The morning began with the same bright impossibility that greeted every morning in Neverland. The sun rose too quickly, as though it had overslept. Clouds drifted backward across a blue sky. Mermaids argued with their reflections in the lagoon. Deep in the forest, the lost boys chased a silver-tailed fox that had stolen their breakfast. High above them, Peter raced his own shadow between the treetops. He flew with his arms spread wide, laughing into the wind. Tinker Bell flashed beside his shoulder like a golden spark. They cut between two enormous branches, climbed over the forest canopy, and turned toward the distant black sails of Captain Hook's ship. Peter had spent the night spying on the pirates. Hook was planning something. Peter was certain of it. But whatever it was, the captain had hidden it beneath a heavy canvas sheet at the center of the ship. Peter intended to return before anyone noticed he had been gone. He was halfway across the island when something changed. At first, it felt like a stone had been placed inside one of his boots. Then another. Then 100. His legs dropped beneath him. Peter laughed, assuming Tinker Bell was playing a trick. He thought of sword fights, summer mornings, and Hook running from the crocodile. He drew in a breath and commanded himself to rise. Instead, he sank. Tinker! The fairy stopped ahead of him and turned. Peter dropped through a cloud. His smile disappeared. Tinker! He fell past the highest trees, snapping branches on the way down. Birds burst from their nests. Leaves spun around him. He reached for a branch, but it broke in his hand. He tried to turn upward, yet his body continued toward the earth with terrifying certainty. Tinker Bell flew beneath him and pushed against his back. It made no difference. Peter struck the ground. The impact shook fruit from trees half a mile away. A circular cloud of dirt rose above the forest. The lost boys stopped chasing the fox and stared toward the sound. Wendy, who had been repairing a torn blanket near their underground home, jumped to her feet. "What was that?" she asked. Slightly, the oldest of the lost boys, listened carefully. "Cannon fire." "No," said Toodles, "too close." Another lost boy looked toward the column of dust. "Maybe a giant fell over." They ran through the forest and found an enormous crater among the trees. At the bottom lay Peter Pan. He was flat on his back, staring at the sky. Tinker Bell hovered above him, ringing frantically. Wendy climbed down first. "Peter!" "I am perfectly well," Peter announced. He tried to sit up. Nothing happened. His expression tightened. He planted both hands against the earth and pushed. His shoulders rose a few inches before dropping again. Wendy offered her hand. Peter ignored it. "I said I'm perfectly well. You have made a hole in the island." "I meant to." "Why?" Peter looked around the crater. "To trap pirates." The lost boys nodded uncertainly. Peter had offered worse explanations before, and they had accepted most of them. He tried to stand again. This time, with his arms trembling, he managed to lift himself onto one knee. The earth compressed beneath him. When he finally stood, he seemed strangely unbalanced. Something about him had changed. Peter still had the same sharp green eyes and unruly auburn hair. He still wore his dark green tunic, brown belt, and leather boots. But his entire body had become extraordinarily large and heavy. His shoulders were broad, his torso massive, and his legs thick enough to bend the plants beneath them. Peter looked down at himself. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Then he reached for his belt. The leather snapped. One of the lost boys gasped. Peter glared at him, and the boy immediately pretended he had hiccuped. Tinker Bell landed on Peter's shoulder and inspected him. She flew around his waist, measured his arms with a length of thread, and then rang a series of angry notes. "What did she say?" Wendy asked. Peter folded his arms. "She said I look stronger." Tinker Bell kicked him in the ear. Wendy raised an eyebrow. "She said you are extremely heavy, didn't she?" Peter turned away. That is not the same thing as being unable to fly. He brushed dirt from his tunic and stepped out of the crater. The ground shook beneath each footstep. Then he raised his arms. "Watch!" Tinker Bell scattered fairy dust over him. Peter closed his eyes. He thought of stealing Hook's hat. He thought of moonlit flights over London. He thought of the first time he had heard children telling stories about him. He thought of every victory, every game, and every impossible escape. Golden light surrounded his body. His boots rose 3 inches above the ground. Peter smiled. Then he crashed down hard enough to knock everyone off their feet. A tree leaned sideways. Far away, a flock of birds changed direction. Peter stared at the cracks spreading from beneath his boots. Tinker Bell emptied the rest of her bag of fairy dust over his head. For one brilliant moment, Peter glowed like a second sun. He rose 1 inch. Then the glow faded. Peter stood motionless, covered in gold. Wendy approached carefully. "Peter," she said, "I don't think this is an accident." Peter looked toward the distant sea. On the horizon, black sails moved around the island. From the direction of Hook's ship came the faint sound of a bell. It rang 5 times. Peter's shadow twisted behind him, and Captain Hook's laughter rolled across Neverland. Chapter 2. 500 pounds. The Lost Boys built a scale. Their first attempt used rope, a wooden board, and 2 hollow tree trunks. Peter stepped onto it, and the entire structure collapsed. Their second attempt used iron chain stolen from the pirates. The chain held, but the branch above it did not. Their third attempt was less a scale than a wooden tower. One side held Peter, the other side held stones. The Lost Boys added 1 stone after another. Then sacks of sand. Then 2 barrels of rainwater. Then an old cannon. Peter remained on the ground. They added a second cannon. The platform lifted slightly. Slightly counted the markings Wendy had carved into the side of the tower. He checked them twice. Then he looked at Peter. "How much?" Peter demanded. Slightly swallowed. 500 pounds. The number silenced everyone. Peter stepped off the platform. "That machine is broken." "The machine is made of a tree," said Wendy. "Trees do not usually lie." "That one does." Peter kicked the tower. It fell apart. The Lost Boys watched the pieces scatter. Peter walked toward the underground home. He reached the hidden entrance and stopped. The opening was too narrow. He tried turning sideways. The tree roots pressed against his shoulders. He pushed harder. Dirt fell from the ceiling. "Peter," Wendy warned, "I have entered this way 1,000 times. Not at 500 pounds. Peter shoved himself forward. The entrance collapsed around him. For several minutes, only his boots remained visible outside while the Lost Boys dug him free. Peter did not speak after that. They widened the entrance. They reinforced a chair. They stitched together 3 blankets for a new sleeping place, although Peter insisted he did not sleep. When one of the Lost Boys offered him breakfast, Peter knocked the bowl away. "I am not hungry." "You haven't eaten anything," Wendy said. "I did not become heavy because I ate too much." "No one said you did. You were thinking it." "I was thinking that you fell out of the sky and might be hurt." Peter looked at the floor. That answer gave him nothing to fight. Tinker Bell flew in through the broken entrance, carrying a small piece of black metal. She dropped it into Wendy's hand. It was shaped like a clock hand, but its surface was marked with tiny anchors. Wendy recognized the same material used on Hook's ship. "Where did you find this?" Tinker Bell rang and pointed toward Peter's shadow. The shadow lay stretched across the floor. It looked darker than usual. Wendy placed the metal fragment near it. The shadow moved toward the fragment as if pulled by a magnet. Peter jumped back. His shadow did not. For one terrible moment, it remained fixed to the floor. Then it dragged itself after him. Wendy crouched beside it. "The curse isn't in your body," she said. Peter frowned. "Then why does my body weigh 500 pounds? "Because something has been attached to your shadow." Tinker Bell rang urgently. "She says it feels like an anchor," Wendy translated. Peter examined the darkness around his boots. "Then we cut it off." He drew his knife and stabbed at the shadow. The blade struck the floor. Pain shot up Peter's arm. The knife flew from his hand. A red mark appeared across his palm. Tinker Bell shook her head. Wendy held the black fragment closer. "This came from Hook's ship. If he created the curse, he might be the only one who knows how it works." Peter's eyes brightened. "Then we go to the ship." He started toward the door. Wendy blocked his path. "How?" Peter stopped. "I fly." Nobody answered. His face hardened. "Then I walk. The ship is in the bay. I swim. At 500 pounds. Peter pushed past her. They followed him to the beach. A small boat waited in the shallows. Peter stepped into it. The boat sank instantly. Water rose to his knees. The lost boys pulled him out before the current dragged the wreckage away. Peter stood on the shore, soaked and furious. Across the bay, Hook's ship turned toward them. A cannon fired. The cannonball landed in the sand several yards away. It did not explode. Instead, it opened like a metal flower, releasing a column of crimson smoke. Hook's face appeared within it. The captain wore his finest red coat. His polished hook reflected the sunlight. Mr. Smee stood behind him, holding a speaking trumpet. "Good morning, Peter," Hook called. Peter grabbed his sword. "Come ashore and say that." Hook laughed. "I would, but I fear the island may sink if both of us stand on the same side." Several pirates laughed behind him. Peter's face burned. Wendy stepped forward. "What have you done to him?" Hook placed his hook against his heart. "Nothing permanent, my dear. I have merely introduced Peter Pan to gravity." "You used a curse." "A corrective measure." The crimson smoke curled into the shape of a giant anchor. "Peter has spent years dropping from the sky, attacking from the sun and vanishing beyond the reach of honest steel. So I asked myself a simple question. What is Peter Pan without flight?" "I'll show you," Peter shouted. "Will you?" Hook leaned closer. "You were never brave, boy. You were only difficult to catch." Peter charged into the water. The sand gave way beneath his weight. He sank to his waist before Wendy, and the lost boys pulled him back. Hook smiled. 500 pounds, Peter. Not 501, not 499. A perfect monument to your pride. How do I break it? Oh, there is a way. Hook's smile widened. You must do the one thing Peter Pan has never done. Defeat you. Ask for help. Peter stared at him. Hook laughed again. Not order, not command, not demand. You must admit that you cannot save yourself. That's all. That is everything. The smoke began to fade. Hook lifted his hook in farewell. I shall return at sunset. By then, every path through the forest will belong to my pirates. Every hiding place will be opened. Every lost boy will be taken. The image disappeared. Peter turned toward the others. Prepare for battle. Wendy caught his arm. Peter, if Hook told the truth. He never tells the truth. But if asking for help breaks the curse. I do not need help. The words came too quickly. Too loudly. Tinker Bell hovered in front of him. Peter looked away. Prepare for battle, he repeated. This time no one moved. Peter drew his sword. I am still Peter Pan. Wendy's voice softened. Yes, that is exactly what worries me. Chapter 3. The Boy Who Could Not Fly. Peter prepared for battle as though nothing had changed. That was his first mistake. He ordered the lost boys to place traps throughout the forest. He planned to attack the pirates from the treetops, drive them toward the river and drop onto Hook's ship before sunset. It was an excellent plan for someone who could fly. Peter climbed the first tree. The lowest branch broke. He climbed another. The trunk bent so far that its roots began lifting from the ground. He abandoned the trees and tried crossing a rope bridge over the crooked gorge. The first step held. The second caused the ropes to groan. On the third, the bridge snapped. Peter caught the edge of the gorge with both hands. The soil cracked beneath his fingers. He pulled himself upward, but his weight dragged him back. Wendy and 4 lost boys grabbed his arms. We have you, Wendy shouted. I have myself. You very clearly do not. The ground broke away. Everyone slid forward. Tinker Bell flew behind them and showered the group with fairy dust. Together, they lifted Peter just high enough for him to roll onto solid ground. For several seconds, they lay there panting. Peter stood without thanking anyone. Later, he attempted to use a vine to swing across the river. The vine tore from the tree before his feet left the bank. He tried hiding inside a hollow log. The log split in half. He tried riding a wild stag. The stag saw him coming and fled the island. By midday, the pirates controlled the western forest. Without Peter attacking from above, they advanced behind wooden shields. They cut down bridges, blocked tunnels, and marked each captured path with a red flag. Peter watched them from behind a boulder. We attack now, he whispered. Wendy looked at the open ground between them and the pirates. From where? Here. They will see you. Then they will know who defeated them. Peter ran forward. The earth shook beneath his boots. Every pirate turned. There he is, Smee cried. A net shot from between 2 trees. Peter raised his sword, but the weighted ropes wrapped around his shoulders and legs. He fell forward, shaking the ground. Pirates surrounded him. Peter cut one rope, 2 more tightened. He tried to roll over, but the pirates had fixed the net to iron stakes. Hook walked calmly through the trees. Caught on the ground, he said. How disappointingly ordinary. Peter reached for him. Hook remained just beyond his fingers. The lost boys attacked from the bushes. Stones, wooden arrows, and rotten fruit flew through the air. Tinker Bell blinded one pirate with golden dust. Wendy cut the rope holding the nearest corner of the net. Peter tore himself free. Retreat, Wendy shouted. I don't retreat. A cannon fired from somewhere deeper in the forest. The ball struck the boulder behind Peter. Stone fragments exploded across the clearing. Peter shielded Wendy and the lost boys with his body. The fragments struck his back but did not knock him down. For the first time, his new weight protected someone. Peter noticed. So did Hook. The captain's smile briefly vanished. Wendy pulled Peter toward the trees. This time he followed. They escaped through a narrow ravine the pirates could not enter in formation. Peter had to turn sideways and force himself between the rocks, but they eventually reached the old fairy grove. Tinker Bell's people waited among luminous flowers. They stared when Peter arrived. Some whispered. Peter heard them. He pretended not to. The queen of the fairies examined the anchor darkness inside his shadow. She touched it with a silver wand, and the wand bent toward the ground. Her voice sounded like distant bells. Tinker Bell translated for Wendy, and Wendy translated for Peter. The curse has two parts, Wendy said. The first part gives your shadow the weight of an anchor. And the second, it makes the weight grow stronger whenever you pretend you don't need anyone. Peter laughed. The ground beneath him sank another inch. The fairy queen pointed toward the distant pirate ship. A dark chain seemed to stretch from Peter's shadow all the way to Hook. He is feeding the curse, Wendy said. Every time you refuse help, the anchor becomes harder to break. Then I'll stop him. Peter, alone. The ground cracked. The fairy queen closed her eyes. Peter looked down. For the first time, fear entered his face. Not fear of Hook. Not fear of defeat. Fear that he did not know how to be anything other than the boy who flew above everyone else. Wendy sat beside him. You protected us from the cannon. Peter said nothing. You couldn't have done that before. I could have flown you away. But you didn't fly, you stood your ground. Peter looked toward the red flags spreading through the forest. Standing still is not an adventure. No, Wendy said. Sometimes it is a responsibility. Peter hated that word. Responsibilities belonged to adults. They were heavy things, heavier than clocks, heavier than houses, perhaps even heavier than 500 pounds. Peter had always escaped them by flying away. Now the ground would not release him. A horn sounded in the distance. A lost boy ran into the grove. Pirates, he gasped. They found the underground home. Peter stood. The fairy grove trembled. Then we take it back. Wendy placed herself in front of him. You cannot fight the way you used to. Peter tightened his grip on his sword. Then I will fight harder. No, you must fight differently. Peter stared at her. Behind Wendy, the lost boys watched him. They were waiting for an order. But they were also waiting for something else. Something Peter had never given them. The truth. Peter opened his mouth. He nearly said, I need you. Instead, he said, follow me. The darkness in his shadow deepened. Chapter 4. A new kind of battle. The pirates expected Peter to attack from above. Even knowing he could no longer fly, they still watched the sky. That was their mistake. Peter approached through the river. The lost boys built a raft from the strongest timber on the island. It took 6 of them to push it into the water. Peter stood at its center while the others paddled. The raft rode dangerously low, but it did not sink. Tinker Bell flew ahead, leading them through the mist. When the pirates saw the raft, they laughed. Peter Pan needs a boat, one shouted. Careful, called another. A wave might defeat him. Peter remained silent. The pirates did not notice the chain around his waist. The other end was wrapped around a fallen tree upstream. Peter stepped off the raft into the shallow river. The water rose to his chest, but his feet found the riverbed. He planted himself against the current. Now, he said. The lost boys cut the rope holding the fallen tree. The current carried it toward the pirate barricade. Peter caught the chain. His arms tightened. For a moment, the entire river seemed to pull against him. Then Peter turned. Using his 500-pound body as an anchor, he changed the tree's direction. The massive trunk swung across the river and smashed through the pirates' wooden defenses. The lost boys cheered. Peter charged through the opening. The pirates fired another net. Peter caught it with both hands and pulled. 3 pirates flew into the river. A 4th swung at him with a club. Peter raised his forearm. The club broke. Peter stared at the broken wood. Then he smiled. The battle changed. He could not move quickly, but he no longer needed to. He became the center around which everyone else moved. The lost boys hid behind him when the pirates fired stones. Tinker Bell directed him with flashes of golden light. Wendy shouted warnings from the riverbank. Left. Peter turned and blocked a charging pirate. Behind you. He stepped backward and trapped another pirate's sword beneath his boot. Bridge. The pirates attempted to cross a narrow wooden bridge with 3 captured lost boys. Peter grabbed the supporting rope and pulled until the bridge tilted toward the safe side of the river. The captives slid into Wendy's arms. For the first time since the curse began, Peter laughed. Not because the battle was easy. Because he was learning. Hook watched from a hill above the river. He saw the pirates retreat. He saw Peter using the curse as armor, leverage, and strength. And he understood that humiliation alone would not defeat him. Hook raised a black whistle to his lips. Its sound was too low for human ears, but Peter's shadow heard it. The darkness beneath Peter twisted. The invisible anchor grew heavier. Peter's knees struck the riverbed. Water surged over his shoulders. Peter, Wendy shouted. He tried to stand. His body would not move. Hook blew the whistle again. Peter sank deeper. Tinker Bell flew beneath the water, scattering fairy dust around him. It formed golden bubbles, but the anchor dragged him toward the riverbed. Wendy and the lost boys pulled the chain around his waist. Peter saw them struggling. He wanted to tell them to let go. He wanted to say he could escape without them. The words rose to his throat. The curse tightened. Then Peter remembered the gorge. He remembered their hands around his arms. He remembered the cannon striking the stone behind him. He forced the words out. Pull. The anchor loosened slightly. The lost boys pulled together. Peter rose from the water. Hook lowered the whistle. His face had become cold. Peter looked toward him. The captain turned and disappeared into the forest. The pirates retreated, leaving the underground home behind. The lost boys celebrated. But Peter did not. He had felt the power of the curse. Hook could increase it whenever he wished. And Peter had only managed to say one word. Not help me. Only pull. It had been enough to loosen the anchor. It had not been enough to break it. Chapter 5. The Machine That Could Not Fly. That evening, Tinker Bell drew a picture in the dirt. It resembled a giant bird with Peter tied beneath it. Peter stared at the drawing. No. Tinker Bell added wings. No. She added 6 bags of fairy dust. Absolutely not. Wendy knelt beside the design. It might work. I am not hanging beneath a wooden bird. It is not a bird, it is a glider. It has a beak. Tinker Bell angrily erased the beak. Peter folded his arms. Peter Pan does not need a machine to fly. Wendy looked at him. Peter Pan is currently unable to fly at all. The lost boys gathered around the drawing. They began suggesting materials. The pirates have canvas. We can use branches for the frame. The mermaids have rope. The mermaids will not give us rope. We can take it. They will drown us. Only a little. Soon the plan covered the entire clearing. Peter walked away. Wendy found him sitting at the edge of a cliff. His legs hung over the side. Far below, waves struck the rocks. Once, this had been one of his favorite places. He would jump without warning, falling until the final instant before soaring upward. Now he sat several feet from the edge. Wendy lowered herself beside him. "The Lost Boys are building the glider. I told them not to. They are doing it anyway. Then they are becoming adults. That is not the insult you think it is." Peter watched the stars appear. "I don't want them to carry me." "Why?" "Because I am their leader. Perhaps that is why you should let them." Peter frowned. Wendy continued. "You taught them to fight. You taught them to climb, hide, and laugh when they were afraid. Why is it wrong for them to teach you something?" "Because I already know everything worth knowing." The cliff beneath Peter creaked. A piece of stone broke away and fell into the sea. Wendy waited. Peter sighed. "I knew how to be Peter Pan." "You still are Peter Pan." "No." He looked at his hands. Peter Pan flies. Peter Pan arrives first. Peter Pan rescues everyone. He does not get stuck indoors. He does not sink boats. He does not need 6 boys to pull him out of a river. Wendy understood then. Peter was not afraid of the weight. He was afraid that without flight, there would be nothing left of him. "You think they followed you because you were the lightest person in Neverland. I was the best. You were the first to jump. That is the same thing." "No, it is." Wendy pointed toward the clearing. Golden lights moved among the trees as Tinker Bell and the Lost Boys worked on the glider. "They are building that because you matter to them, not because you can fly, not because you always win, because you are Peter." Peter looked away. "What if it breaks? Then we build another. What if it cannot lift me? Then we use more wings. What if I fall?" Wendy smiled gently. "Then this time we catch you." Peter's shadow moved beside him. The anchor darkness flickered. Peter opened his mouth. Before he could speak, a scream came from the clearing. They ran back. The glider had been destroyed. Its canvas wings burned on the ground. Ropes lay cut between the trees. Several Lost Boys were missing. Tinker Bell flew in frantic circles above a black pirate flag nailed to a stump. Wendy pulled it free. A message had been burned into the fabric. "Come to the Jolly Roger before midnight. Come alone, or the boys walk the plank." Peter read it twice. Hook knew exactly what he would do. Peter would go alone. He would refuse help. The curse would become stronger. And the moment he reached the ship, Hook would drag him to the bottom of the sea. Wendy took the flag from his hands. "We need a plan." "I have one." "Does it involve going alone?" Peter did not answer. Tinker Bell flew directly in front of his face. "No," Peter said. She rang sharply. "I said no." Her light turned red. Peter's voice rose. "They were taken because they were building a machine for me." "They were taken because Hook is afraid it might work," Wendy said. "I can reach the ship before midnight." "How?" Peter looked toward the dark sea. He had no answer. Wendy picked up one of the broken wooden wings. "We repair it. There isn't time. Then you help us." Peter stared at the ruined glider. Every instinct told him to run ahead, to improvise, to turn the rescue into another magnificent story about Peter Pan. But he could not cross the sea. He could not reach the deck. He could not rescue the Lost Boys alone. The truth stood before him like a locked door. Peter lowered his sword. "What do you need me to do?" The anchor in his shadow cracked. Only slightly. But everyone heard it. Chapter 6. The Flight of the Lost Boys. They worked until the moon reached the center of the sky. Peter bent the strongest branches into the glider's frame. Wendy stitched the torn canvas. Tinker Bell gathered every fairy willing to share dust. The remaining lost boys braided rope and attached it to the wings. The repaired machine was enormous. It looked less like a bird and more like a ship that had decided to sail through the sky. "Will it hold me?" Peter asked. Slightly examined the frame. "No." Peter raised an eyebrow. "Not by itself," Slightly added quickly. They reinforced it with the mast of a small pirate boat. "Now, perhaps." They attached additional ropes. "Now, probably." Tinker Bell sprinkled dust over the wings. The glider shuddered and rose 1 foot before dropping. They added more dust. It rose 3 feet. Then Peter climbed into the harness. The glider collapsed. Nobody spoke. Peter looked at the broken frame beneath him. One of the lost boys covered his face. Wendy sat in the grass, exhausted. The moon continued toward midnight. Peter slowly stood. "We cannot make the machine strong enough," he said. Tinker Bell's light dimmed. Peter looked toward the sea. Then he noticed the pirate wreckage along the shore, the raft, the broken mast, and the chain they had used at the river. An idea formed. "We don't need it to carry me all the way." Wendy followed his gaze. "What are you thinking?" "We only need it to reach the ship." Peter explained. The glider would not lift him from the ground, but the highest cliff on the island stood above the bay. If they launched from there, the wings would only need to slow his fall long enough to reach Hook's ship. "And if they do?" Wendy asked. Peter looked down at the distant water. "Then I make a very large splash." Nobody laughed. Peter smiled. "That was a joke." "You have terrible timing," Wendy said. They carried the pieces to the cliff and rebuilt the glider one final time. Peter stood inside the harness. Tinker Bell covered the wings in golden dust. Wendy tightened the last rope. "You don't have to do this alone," she said. Peter looked at the narrow wooden frame. "If all of you climb onto it, we will drop even faster." "That isn't what I meant." Peter glanced at the others. They held ropes attached to the back of the glider. The plan required them to run together and pull the wings into the air. Peter had to trust them. Not after he jumped. Before. He faced the cliff. Below, Hook's ship waited in the bay. Lanterns burned along the deck. The captured lost boys stood near the end of a plank. Hook held the black whistle. Midnight was minutes away. Peter gripped the wooden controls. "Ready," Wendy called. Peter took a breath. He had given orders thousands of times. He had never asked the next question. "Will you help me fly?" The words were quiet. The lost boys heard them. Tinker Bell heard them. Wendy smiled. "Yes." The darkness inside Peter's shadow split like old iron. The invisible anchor did not disappear, but its chain broke away from Hook's ship. Peter still weighed 500 pounds. Yet for the first time, the weight belonged only to him. It was no longer tied to his fear. "Run!" Peter shouted. The lost boys pulled. The glider moved slowly, scraping across the earth. Faster! They ran with everything they had. The wheels reached the edge. For one breathless instant, the glider stopped. Then Peter Pan fell from the cliff for the second time that day. The wings opened. Canvas snapped in the wind. The ropes tightened. Golden dust exploded behind him. The glider dropped toward the sea. Peter pulled the controls. The left wing bent dangerously. "Come on," he whispered. The waves rose toward him. Then the wind caught the sail. The glider lifted. Peter flew across the moonlit bay. Not gracefully. Not effortlessly. Not alone, but he flew. Chapter 7. 500 Pounds of Peter Pan. Hook stood beside the plank, watching the moon. "Midnight," he announced. Smee removed his hat. "Do we push them now, Captain?" "Wait." Hook looked toward the island. "He will come." "How, Captain?" Hook's smile returned. Pride always finds a way to destroy its owner. A pirate pointed toward the sky. "What's that?" At first, the glider looked like an enormous bird. Then it crossed in front of the moon, revealing Peter's silhouette beneath the wings. Hook's smile vanished. Peter pulled the controls and aimed directly at the ship. "Move," Smee screamed. Pirates scattered. The glider struck the mainsail. Canvas tore, ropes snapped. Peter broke through the rigging, crossed half the deck, and crashed into the mast. The entire ship tilted. Peter climbed out of the wreckage. His hair stood in every direction. Half his tunic was covered in fairy dust. One of the wooden wings remained tied to his back. He drew his sword. "Hello, Hook." The captured lost boys cheered. Hook raised the black whistle and blew. Nothing happened. He blew again. Peter's shadow remained still. "What have you done?" Hook demanded. "I flew." "You fell with furniture." "From where you're standing, I imagine it looked much the same." Hook slashed at him. Peter blocked with his sword. The blades rang across the deck. Before the curse, Peter had fought Hook with speed. He would circle him, attack from above, and vanish whenever Hook turned. Now Peter could barely step around him. So he stopped trying. Hook attacked again. Peter caught the blade against his guard and held it there. Hook pushed. Peter did not move. The captain's expression changed. Peter pushed back. Hook slid across the deck. Peter advanced slowly. Each step shook the boards. Hook stabbed toward his shoulder. Peter turned, letting the blade glance off the wooden wing. He caught Hook's coat and lifted him from the ground. Hook struck Peter's arm with the flat of his sword. Peter released him. Around them, the pirates attacked the remaining lost boys. Wendy and Tinker Bell arrived with the others on a second, smaller glider. They landed on the rear deck and cut the prisoners free. The battle spread across the ship. Peter saw a pirate raise a club behind Wendy. He stepped between them. The club struck his back. Peter barely noticed. He turned. The pirate dropped the club and ran. Peter smiled. His body was not quick, but it had become a fortress. He tore a cannon from its ropes and rolled it across the deck, blocking the pirate's path. He planted himself before the stairs, preventing anyone from reaching the lost boys. When 3 pirates charged together, they struck him and fell backward. "Behind Peter," Wendy called. The children gathered behind him, while the pirates fired stones from slings. Peter raised a broken section of the glider as a shield. The stones struck wood. No one behind him was hurt. Hook watched from the quarterdeck. His plan had failed. The weight had not made Peter powerless. It had changed the kind of power he possessed. Hook ran to the wheel and turned the ship toward the rocks surrounding the island. "If I cannot have Neverland," he shouted, "then neither will you." The ship accelerated. Black sails filled with enchanted wind. Jagged rocks rose ahead. Wendy climbed toward the wheel, but pirates blocked the stairs. Peter looked at the mast. The mainsail pulled the ship forward. If it fell, the ship would slow. Peter wrapped both arms around the mast and pushed. Nothing happened. The mast was thicker than a tree. He pushed again. The deck cracked beneath his boots. The mast groaned. Peter slightly shouted, "The ropes!" The lost boys ran to the supporting lines and cut them. Tinker Bell scattered fairy dust into the sail, lifting it away from the pirates. Wendy turned the wheel. Peter pushed one final time. The mast snapped. It fell across the deck, tearing the black sail and crushing the railing. The ship turned sideways just before reaching the rocks. A wave struck the hull. Everyone fell except Peter. His weight held him in place. For a moment, the ship balanced against the current. Then water began pouring through a crack below the deck. "We're sinking," Smee cried. Peter looked toward the island. The ship was too far from shore to swim safely, especially while carrying the younger lost boys. The gliders had been destroyed. Only one option remained. The ship's emergency sail was folded near the rear mast. If opened and filled with fairy dust, it might carry the children to the island. But someone would have to hold the ship steady while they launched. Peter grabbed the anchor chain. He wrapped it around his arms and planted his boots against the deck. "What are you doing?" Wendy asked. "Keeping the ship from turning. You must come with us." "I will." "When?" Peter looked at the water rising through the lower stairs. "After you." Wendy understood. "No. Take the others." "No, Peter." The ship tilted. Peter tightened his grip on the chain. His weight pulled the deck back toward level. "Go." The lost boys hesitated. Peter roared louder than the sea. "That is an order." They unfolded the emergency sail. Tinker Bell and the fairies covered it in dust. One by one, the lost boys held the ropes as the sail lifted them toward the island. Wendy remained. "You said you had learned to ask for help." "I did." "Then ask now." "I am helping you." "That is not the same thing." Another wave struck. The chain cut into Peter's arms. The ship tilted farther. Hook emerged from behind the broken wheel. His red coat was torn. His sword was gone. Salt water ran down his face. "You see," he shouted. "He has learned nothing. Peter Pan would rather sink magnificently than be rescued." Peter looked toward the last sail. It was only large enough for Wendy and Tinker Bell. "Not for him." Hook laughed. "You are still the same selfish boy." Peter stared at the water. Perhaps Hook was right. Dying alone would be easier than asking everyone to risk themselves for him. It would also make a magnificent story. Peter Pan, holding an entire pirate ship steady while his friends escaped. A heroic ending. A lonely ending. Exactly the kind Peter would have chosen before the curse. Wendy reached for him. "Peter, please." The deck broke beneath his feet. Peter dropped to one knee. The chain began sliding through his hands. He looked toward the sky. The lost boys circled above the ship beneath the enchanted sail. They had not flown back to the island. They were waiting for him to ask. Peter released one hand from the chain. "I can't do this alone." The words crossed the water. The lost boys turned the sail. They flew back toward the ship. Hook's face filled with horror. "No." Tinker Bell released every remaining grain of fairy dust. Golden light covered Peter, Wendy, the lost boys, and the sail above them. Ropes fell from the sky. Peter grabbed one. 20 hands pulled from above. The ship rolled beneath him. Peter rose 1 inch. Then 2. The broken deck fell into the sea. Peter's boots left the ship. All 500 pounds of him swung beneath the enormous sail as the lost boys shouted, pulled, and laughed. Wendy held one rope. Tinker Bell pushed against Peter's shoulder. The sail climbed. Hook ran across the sinking deck and grabbed Peter's boot. "Take me with you." Peter looked down. For years, he had dreamed of defeating Hook. He had imagined 100 endings: Hook falling from a mast, Hook fleeing the crocodile, Hook surrendering his sword. But Peter no longer wanted victory to mean leaving someone behind. He lowered his hand. Hook stared at it. "Take it." The captain hesitated. The ship sank deeper. Hook reached upward. Their hands nearly touched. Then the familiar ticking of the crocodile sounded across the water. Hook froze. His face went pale. He released Peter's boot and ran toward the opposite side of the ship. "Not yet," he screamed. "Not today." He leaped into a small floating barrel and paddled into the mist with his hook. Smee followed in a washtub. The lost boys pulled Peter higher. The pirate ship disappeared beneath the sea. The black sails were the last things to vanish. Peter hung beneath the golden wings, surrounded by everyone he had once believed he had to lead from above. For the first time, they were carrying him. And for the first time, he was not ashamed. Chapter 8. A Different Way to Fly. The next morning, Neverland gathered on the beach. The fairies came from their grove. The mermaids watched from the shallows. The lost boys sat on pieces of the pirate ship. Wendy stood beside Peter beneath the rising sun. The curse had not disappeared. Peter still weighed 500 pounds. The fairy queen examined his shadow and explained that Hook's chain was gone, but the anchor had become part of it. Tinker Bell translated. Wendy listened. Peter waited. "Well?" he asked. Wendy looked concerned. "She says the weight may remain forever." The lost boys went quiet. Peter looked down at his body. His boots sank slightly into the sand. A few days earlier, the answer would have destroyed him. Now he looked toward the remains of the glider. "Then we build stronger wings." The lost boys cheered. They spent the next several days creating a new flying machine. It was larger than the first. They used pieces of Hook's black sails, wood from the pirate ship, and ropes made by the mermaids. The fairies placed golden dust inside small lanterns attached to each wing. This time, Peter did not sit alone at the center. The machine held all of them. Wendy operated one wing, slightly controlled the other. Tinker Bell directed the fairies. The younger lost boys managed the ropes. Peter stood at the front. "Ready?" Wendy asked. Peter looked behind him. Everyone waited. "Together," he said. They ran toward the cliff. The wings opened. The machine left the ground. It dipped once, recovered, and climbed into the sky. Peter laughed. Neverland spread beneath them, the forests, lagoons, mountains, and silver rivers. The wind struck his face. Clouds opened ahead. It was not the flight Peter remembered. He could not twist through the air wherever he pleased. He could not race his shadow or disappear beyond the stars. Every turn required cooperation. Every climb required someone else to pull a rope. It was slower, heavier, and somehow greater. They flew over the bay where Hook's ship had sunk. A red hat floated on the water. Somewhere in the mist, Hook shouted at Smee. Peter smiled but did not turn toward the sound. Wendy stood beside him. "Do you miss flying alone?" Peter considered pretending he did not. Then he answered honestly. "Sometimes." "That sounds almost grown-up." Peter looked horrified. "Take that back." Wendy laughed. Peter faced the horizon. He had once believed freedom meant needing no one. It meant flying higher than everyone else, arriving first and leaving whenever responsibility became too heavy. But the ground had taught him something the sky never could. Being unable to carry yourself did not make you worthless. Being helped did not make you weak. And a leader did not always have to fly ahead. Sometimes a leader stood beneath the falling stones. Sometimes he held the bridge. Sometimes he became the anchor that kept everyone else from being swept away. And sometimes he simply reached out his hand and admitted that he could not rise by himself. The flying machine turned toward the sun. Peter spread his arms. For a moment, his shadow stretched across the sail behind him. It was broad, heavy, and unmistakably his. Peter Pan had not become light enough to fly again. He had simply learned that he did not have to rise alone.